Okay, thank you, and welcome everybody to an overview on Sage Business Vision. The overall product name, or the full product name, is Sage Business Vision 50 Accounting. And I'm Jennifer Schwartz. I'm the product manager. So what we want to look at today is a quick review of our product lineup, the different editions that we offer, and some of the differences between those editions and what's included with the product when you purchase Sage Business Vision. And then we'll obviously get into the product and actually show you a demonstration of how some of the modules work. Now, in our short time that we have here today, we won't have time to go into all of the modules and all of the details, but this should give you a good overview or feel for the product. At the end, we leave room for questions and answers, but I'll also tell you who you can follow up with, which is usually with your business partner or with the sales department. So what we have with our product lineup is 4 different editions or 4 different flavors of Sage Business Vision. What these basically are different scaled down versions of the exact same product. You're going to choose which edition you want based on the number of users, basically. That'll usually be the first indication of which edition you need. So starting at the bottom, there's a 1-user edition, and then a 3-user. We've got a 5 to 10 user, and then users that go all the way from 10 to 100 users. Now, it's very easy to move up an edition, the scalability factor. So if today you only need 3 users in the system, and your business grows in 6 months or a year, and you now find that you need 5 users in the system, you can easily upgrade into the standard edition. And your database isn't going to change. You're not going to have to retrain people. This is going to be a very easy upgrade. Contact your business partner, and you just need to purchase the upper edition. Now, the users I should mention are concurrent users. So that means the number of users that are logged into the system at one time. Okay, so for example, the small business edition, the users, you may install that on 5 different workstations, but only the first 3 people who logged into the database will gain access. A couple of other things to note. We do include the Crystal Report Designer. All of our reports and forms are written with Crystal Report, very standard report writing tool. And we give you the Report Designer, and that's included at no charge. That's with all of the editions. Something else that's included, and that you don't have to buy separately, is the Pervasive Engine. So this is for any technical people, this is the database, okay, depending on the edition that you purchase. That's included when you buy Sage Business. One other thing to note is the Custom Pack. And the Custom Pack we don't go into great detail today, but it is an add-on module that expands the functionality and gives you some really neat tools. That is included for free with the Client Server Edition, and it's available for purchase with the Standard and the Small Business Edition. Unfortunately, you're not able to add it on to the Limited Edition. Okay, so those are the different editions or flavors that you have to choose from to start with. Now on the next slide, I'll show you what else is included when you purchase any of the editions, which is all of our modules. Something else unique about Sage Business Vision is that we do ship all of the modules when you purchase a product. So with some other products, you will need to pick and choose which modules you need and pay for them separately. But with Sage Business Vision, you will receive all these modules when you purchase the product. It makes it very easy if today you may not need, let's say, a purchase order module, but you know in 3 months, or 6 months down the road, you can probably implement it and start to use it. So for now, you can hide an icon or just not use a module, and at any point in the future, you can start to use the module, and they're all fully integrated with each other. A couple of the key modules that we always like to point out is that we do ship with a point-of-sale module. This is great for small retail shops. Sometimes it's also used by our distribution and kind of light manufacturing or warehousing clients. It may not be a retail operation, but they might have a small little kiosk or store at the front of their warehouse. Okay, so you could use a point-of-sale module for walk-in customers, and again, it's fully integrated with your customer and your inventory module. Another module is payroll, and that is included. There are two different payroll modules depending on whether you're in Canada or the U.S. In the U.S., we do ship with our Sage Pro ERP payroll module. Okay, but that comes included with the system. Okay, it's just one of our sister Sage products, and we've used their payroll module for the U.S. Some of the modules you'll notice have a little asterisk beside them. That's bill of material and budget and forecast. Those two modules are only included in the two higher-end editions. So if you'll remember, that was standard and client server. That's the 5-user or up. So if you know that you need one of those modules, you may know that you need to go to at least the standard edition to begin with. Okay. That should give you just a brief overview on what you have to choose from. Obviously, there's lots of other add-ons, third-party add-ons, plus additional products from us. Those are the details you can go over with your business partner, but that should give you a good idea of what we have to offer. Now what I'm going to do now is go ahead and share my desktop, and we'll move into the product, and we'll actually show you how this is. Okay, so we are in the Sage Business Vision system now. It's very easy to navigate and find your way around. You simply have a row of icons across the top. And if you ever forget, what a module is, you can always mouse over an icon and it will tell you what module it corresponds to. If you prefer list views as opposed to icons, of course, you can use the list view as well from the menu option. Let's jump into one of the modules, and we'll start in the customer module here, show you some of the highlights that you'll see throughout the system. What we try to do is give you as much information as you can from one location. Rather than having to open up multiple modules, okay, when you need a piece of information that has to do with, let's say, a customer or an inventory item, and try to give you all that information on one screen. And the way we do that is with this tab view, we call it. You see, as my mouse moves, we have multiple tabs available for one customer. And we'll look at that in a minute. Something else that we try to do is make it very easy for you to enter information into the system, to pull information out of the system and maybe run queries on your database, and also to find records. So let's just begin to enter in a letter and the customer number. One of the first things you'll see is we have an autofill. Okay, this autofill process you're probably very familiar with other Windows systems. And it will try to guess what customer you're trying to enter into the system. I can continue to enter in characters until I find the customer number that I want. Or at any time I can hit Enter or Tab to accept the customer number. Another way I can find my customer is simply by using the browse. Okay, I could enter in the first letter and then hit Browse. And it will start me off, in this case, with customers beginning with F. I can go ahead and choose any customer I want, double-click on them, and that will call up the customer. I'm going to go ahead and clear that. You may not always know, let's say in this case, what the customer number is. You might have another piece of information, and that might be the only piece of information you have on a customer or an item or a vendor, and you need to find that piece of information in the system. So we give you other ways to find that. Wherever you see in the system, there is a field that's completely underlined. Okay, you'll see customer number is, telephone number is, fax number is not. Okay, as an example. Any field that is underlined, when you mouse over it, you'll see it says click to navigate by telephone number, as an example. So let's say a customer had left us a phone message. They didn't tell us their name. They didn't give us their customer number, but they asked for you to call them back, and all they left you was a phone number. First, I click on telephone number. I want to navigate by phone number, and then enter in a full or partial phone number, and simply hit next. That will look through my customer database, not based on customer number or name or any other criteria, but that is simply looking for a telephone number starting with 416-555. That's a quick and easy way to find that customer. And I try to keep scrolling through my customers, okay, to find another customer that may have the same first 6 digits of their phone number. I hit next, you'll see that I in fact don't have another customer. 416-555 is the next numeric value that it'll bring up. Okay, and I can always scroll back to the original customer. So very easy. I could have done that. I could look through all my customers in a particular city, by a particular postal code. I can look them up by email address or contact name. Lots of opportunities to find a customer record when, especially in customer service, when the customer doesn't remember or know what their customer number is. Maybe they've changed company names and you just need to be able to call up that record system. Okay, so within the customer module, let's take a look at some of these tabs, some of the information you can get. Again, thinking in this case in a customer service model, the customer service person may not have to go into many modules in order to help out the person on the phone. We've got some standard information that we won't go through that ties in with inventory and, of course, accounting. With our customers, we can have multiple ship-to addresses. So if you deal with a big box store or someone who has a head office in multiple stores that you might ship to, okay, you can have an unlimited number of ship-to addresses, each with their own taxes and salespeople, shipping, and contacts. Okay, and when you're in order entry, you can either ship to the head office or any of their subsidiaries. Again, just some basic information you can enter, and then we get into sales information. What the sales information tab just did is ran a real-time report simply showing us our sales by period, and it's actually comparing last year's, this year's, and next year's, if I'm booking any sales into next year. Comparison chart, plus the detailed period-by-period sales down below. It's real great if you need to print off a quick report on your salesperson and you need to pass it off to a colleague, or you just want a quick snapshot of what this customer account looks like. So at the same time when this customer is on the phone, you could go to their accounts receivable tab here and let them know what their overall balance is, or if they inquire about what their AR balance is. We're able to tell them that it's $19,854. We can also see what aging periods these fall into. We're also able to see even more detail of what invoices, payments, credit notes, debit notes, finance charges, the total details that make up this $19,000. We also have the ability to drill down. So let's say, for instance, the customer does not remember receiving a particular invoice. Okay? This invoice here for $13,000, they say that they don't recall it. Let's click on View Invoice. That lets us drill down. We can let them know exactly what was on the invoice. And, if need be, I could reprint the invoice and perhaps fax it off to them. So this is just a view of accounts receivable. Okay, I can't actually make accounts receivable transactions on this screen. So your customer service people, or those that might have just access to the customer account, won't be able to take a payment or apply any kind of payments to invoices. They can just view from this point. So move on to the Sales Orders tab. What this is showing us is any open current orders that are in the system for this customer. So this is reading from order entry. Again, this does not replace order entry. This is just a view of what's currently sitting in order entry. If I want to make a change to an order, or if I want to start a new order, I'm going to go to the order entry module. But once again, I would see a list of all open orders, and I have the ability to drill down to view the details. Similarly, I can look at, rather than just opened orders that have not shipped, I can look at the sales order history. Okay, so that's all orders and things that have been shipped and invoiced. Throughout the system, you will see something called Notes. The notepad is very handy. It's something for little internal notes for you to use, kind of like a little post-it note. There, sticky note. What you're going to track in here is just maybe little internal notes, as you'll see here. Someone has left the company. Okay, and you can have as many notes as you want to do with any subject. And these notes can be date and time stamped so that you know who left the note. Okay, let's move on to another module and to show you how some of these things look in other modules as well. Open up Inventory. Our Inventory module is very similar. We've got the tab view. I can call up a part number. The autofill will kick in and try to guess what part number I'm entering. We've got lots of room. We've got 34 characters for a part number if we need to use it. We've also got descriptions and UPC codes that we can enter. If you're using the Bill of Material module, okay, you can identify items as being normal, manufactured, kitted, or raw goods. I can put my parts into different product codes or categories if I need to group products together. The system will track average cost. It can also track current, LIFO, or FIFO costing. In this case, I've chosen average and current cost. And of course, it's going to track all of our available quantities. We're also able to set reorder points and minimum order quantities. Now, these are our minimum order quantities from our vendor. We have several different pricing mechanisms within the system. In fact, we have about 5 different ways to set prices and discounts within the system. The first 2 ways are through selling price levels. There are 20 different selling price levels. So as you see on the left-hand side of your screen, you can have selling price levels 1 through 20. You may only use 1, but if you need more than 1 selling price level, you have up to 20 of them. And one example of how this may be used is these selling price levels are assigned to customers. So perhaps all of your selling price level 1 customers are your retail customers. And number 2 are your wholesale customers. Number 3 are your walking off the street customers who you don't normally deal with. Number 4 is your friends and family discount. So you can internally assign what each selling price level may be. And then for each item, you're going to set the price, the price level. We also have quantity breaks that we can set up. We additionally have promotional prices. So if this item is going to go on sale for a weekend, a month, or any specified time, we can set a start and an end date, a promotional price. And once that end date has hit, it will revert back to the regular pricing. There are also different ways to set up general ledger accounts that are assigned to parts, sales taxes. The summary tab, again, very similar to what we saw in the customer module, to show us our unit sales. Okay, for last year, this year, and next year. We are able to attach an image to our item. Now, this is most often used with one of our add-on products called eBusiness Vision. eBusiness Vision is a templated web store so that you can actually set up an online e-commerce web store. It will tie into your Business Vision items and customers and pull them up online. In this case, the items, it would actually pull the item information and the photos onto your web store. And then you're able to download orders from the online web store into order entry. That's just one of our add-on modules. Of course, even if you're not using the web store, you may want to attach images just for internal reference anyhow. Very similar to the customer module, we can look at all of the filled orders that currently have a CD204 on them. Okay, so if I've had an issue, maybe a quality issue with this part number, I can easily see how many orders are affected and which customers, as well as being able to drill down into the details of the order. Okay, I can also look up the full sales order history. I can see all of the purchase orders that are currently outstanding for this item as well. And again, of course, I always have the drill down capability. And this shows us the details of what's sitting on a purchase. There I can view the full purchase order history and receipt. For items, I can set prices and vendor part numbers, the vendors I might purchase a CD204 from. Serial numbers is something that's included with the system if it's something that your company uses. Call up the serialized item here. When you're tracking serial numbers and you've got it assigned to an item, it would track, if you choose, PO and receipt. Okay, so that serial number came in on, as well as the order and the invoice that was sold on. And again, we have the full drill down capabilities. And finally, what you'll see throughout the system, okay, is the notepad. Okay, let's take a look at something that almost everyone will use this in the system, is the General Ledger module. Within the General Ledger module here, I can enter a new account. I can make edits to existing accounts. I can set up and change quite a few things, as well as view some history. If I call up my bank account, for example, I go to my Balances tab. What I'm seeing here is the net changes in balances for a period, January through December of last year, and then starting January of the current year. Okay, and I'm only currently in June, so I don't have any balances beyond that. So if I want to look down and drill down into some more information, of course I can do that. Okay, so April looks like we had a lot of activity. I want to say, well, I'd like to look at the transactions for my Royal Bank within April. When I hit View Transactions, this is showing me for account 11120, April transactions, and this is anything that's gone through my Royal Bank account. Now, I can drill down even a little further from here. This, of course, is just showing me the one debit or credit amount per journal entry transaction that hit the bank. If I want to see the full journal entry, find any transaction, simply just need to select it, highlight it, and say View Journal Entry. And I can do that for any of my transactions. If you're an account, okay, that might have transactions that originated from the purchase orders or order entry module, I also have the capability to drill down to the actual details of the invoice or purchase order. You can get that down to that level of detail. I close this. That was just from the overall account. I also have a couple of quick reports that I can pull up. Balances and net changes by period. And of course my notes. Lots of useful tools within the general ledger. Okay, we've got the ability to consolidate transactions from subledgers. We have a search and reverse. Okay, if I need to reverse journal entries. There is no deletion of journal entries. Every transaction that goes through Sage Business Vision is assigned a GL transaction number and is recorded in the general ledger and in reports. I can't go in and simply delete a transaction that I've done. If I've made a mistake with a journal entry, I can either reverse that journal entry, which will give it now a new transaction number, or I can, of course, make an adjusting entry. I'm going to take a look at order entry here. Order entry is, of course, a big module that's used quite heavily if you're using the customer and the inventory module. I need to simply choose a customer. And then once I'm ready to start entering details, I simply start entering them in much like an Excel spreadsheet in the grid. Now, of course, I can enter in part numbers. We also have the ability to enter not just part numbers that are sitting in inventory, but we can enter in non-stock items. So this is something you can control on a user-by-user basis. And you can get a prompt to warn you that this is not an item found in inventory. Okay. And I can go ahead and enter that information. Of course, it needs a lot more information because it doesn't have any current pricing, quantities, or of course we don't have any quantities even that we're keeping track of in the system. The non-stock item requires a little more information. Well, we can also enter in as comment lines. So I can enter in a one-time comment line. I may also save comments that I want to reuse time and time again. Okay, rather than entering in one time, maybe I have warranty details, return information, some other kind of comment that I use on a lot of my orders. And you'll see that automatically populates my comments. And I simply hit save. So that's entering in my order details. I can print out order confirmations and packing slips, shipping labels. And you'll see it'll ask me for each of these. And I can turn them on or off depending on my user settings. And then it may ask me finally, do I want to print an invoice? Are we ready to ship? Okay, I could say no, leave an order open and come back to it at a later time to invoice. I could, in this case, go ahead and invoice it now. So it will ask, do you want this invoice to be applied to the customer account? Okay, so do I want to send it to Ace Electronics and put it on their AR account? Or do I want to choose another method of payment? If I say no, it'll give me the option to pay cash or check, perhaps by a major credit card, or I could at this point still go ahead and select accounts receivable on account. Sage Business Vision is a real-time system. Okay, so as I'm posting this invoice, it's going to do a few things. It's going to send, of course, the sale information to accounts receivable, as I told it to. It's going to update my sales history. It's going to post my general ledger entries. Okay, and in this case, it's going to go ahead and this order was fully shipped, so it's going to remove this order from the order file and put it into something called sales history. So we've got sales analysis, one of our modules. Sales analysis allows you to run a few queries on sales. So in this case, I'm looking at sales just from today. Okay, the start date is today and the end date is today. If I hit refresh, here's everything that I've sold so far today. Now I can back out my dates as far back as I like. In sales and subledgers, I can keep unlimited history. So I could have sales going back for years and years here. Okay, so I can go back as long as I want. When I hit refresh, you'll see we'll find quite a few more invoices. In the bottom left-hand corner, it won't always show me how many records it found. So between those 2 dates, I have a total of 373 separate invoices. Now I can also drill down a little further from here. So if I say, well, I want to see everything between these 2 dates, okay, but I only want to see sales that were made to, let's say, the province of Ontario. And when I hit refresh again, when it's done, it will find 242 records and show me all the details. Now from here, I could call up any one of these historical records and view the details. And I could reprint an invoice, reprint shipping labels, and I could take this order and copy it as a credit note or copy it as a quote. Then that quote can, with a flip of a switch, easily be turned into a new order. So if the customer says, I want to reorder the same thing I did, and give you a date, you find that order, you can simply save yourself entering in the detail line and copy it as an order. The other thing I might do with this information is use this Excel button. What this is going to do is say, I want to go ahead and export these 242 records to Excel. And it will ask me what fields do I want to take with me. What are the important fields that I want to see in Excel. Okay, invoice number, customer name and number are important. You can see all the fields down the left that I'm able to take. And perhaps I simply want the total. When I hit OK, take those 242 records. I'll view my screen. It'll open up Excel automatically, put everything into nice, neat little columns. Okay, you can easily see the title here, what's sitting in each column. And then I've got all of the power within Excel. Okay? This kind of gives you a way to do a quick ad hoc report, or a report that I might not have in my crystal report. Maybe I haven't customized it, or you just want a real simplified report for some reason. Okay, and then I want to go ahead and do a summary, and then do any kind of formatting that I want to within Excel. And of course, then I can print that out. You're not able to harm the data using this export. This only takes a copy of the data. Okay, it isn't actually going to do anything to harm it in the background. You can't do an import back into the system here. But it is a great way to do queries and to pull information out of the system. Okay, so those are just some of the things you can do within sales analysis. One other area I'd like to show you today is the user details. Of course, when you're using systems that are going to go 3, 5, 10, 20, or 100 users, you need very good security. So this prompt will inform me that I'm changing things under my own user ID. Most things within user security are found in this Access tab. So from here I can do a couple of things. If this user, let's say, should not have access to accounts receivable at all, I could simply uncheck the entire accounts receivable module. That icon will be grayed out, and they won't be able to view anything to do with accounts receivable data. Okay, so that's a quick and easy way to take away an entire module. Now, if I want to be a little more detailed than that, I can be. Within each module, there's Options, Reports, and Custom Reports. The Options tab is where most of the options are going to lie. Now, if I want someone to have access to accounts receivable, maybe they can view things within this module, but I don't want them to be able to post or change any data. I can set their permission, yes or no, okay, based on what I want them to be able to do. And just make it very detailed once I get within the module. I can even do this for reports, what reports they have the ability to print. And if I'm adding in custom reports, which I don't have any here, I can set permissions for my custom reports as well. Now each module, of course, will have their own options, but you'll see they are very similar. Okay, you either take away, uncheck an entire module, maybe give them access to view things within the module, but take away, let's say, the ability to edit or post. Now when you get into a module like order entry, get into quite detailed instructions and limitations. This is usually a module where people want to be detailed on what the user can and cannot do. Okay. So setting up user security, very intuitive, very easy to set up. Once I have a user set up, I also have the ability to copy. So let's say if I have 5 order entry people, it should all have the same user rights. So I'd set up the first person with all of their security settings, and then I simply hit copy. And I don't want to save these settings, but I want to go ahead and create a new user. First I'm going to set up their new ID, first name, last name, and a password. And that will just copy over all those user security settings. One last area we want to take a quick look at is the report. We ship over 200 reports out of the box. Okay, that's what you get when you purchase Sage Business Vision. You can, of course, with the Crystal Report Designer that's included, make modifications, create new reports. You may do those on your own, or very often a business partner will do that for you. But as you see, going through the modules on the left, you're able to view what reports are included on the right-hand side. Now, I'll start with the general ledger and just look at some of these examples. Of course, all of the standard reports, aged file balances, anything that you need for financial reporting is included, plus a few extras. Okay, so if I want to look at my financial statement by fiscal period, I can easily. If I want to do something a little more interesting, we've got projected cash balances here, where I could say, starting today, I want to go ahead and project my cash either weekly or daily. Go ahead and say weekly. And I want to look out 16 weeks. I can go ahead and say, well, what happens if I delay my AR receipts by 30 days? And I delay my AP payments by 40 days. I can play around with some what-if statements and actually see what that will do to my cash balances. So these are just some of the reports that are included. Of course, when you get to something like sales analysis, there's a few different reports run. Now, again, that's a good highlight, a good overview of the modules. We didn't even get to touch on any of the modules, payroll and point of sale and bill of materials. Okay, these are all modules just the same as we've just shown you that are all integrated, all ready to use out of the box. And there are things that your business partner can show you in a little more detail once you define what modules you may need and what your business in particular is going to be able to utilize. I'll close my report here. I just want to make sure that you have some information before you go away anywhere. If you have more questions, you're going to call one of two people. You're going to call the business partner that you've already been working with, okay? Because we only sell through certified business partners. You can call our sales number, and what the salespeople can do is put you in touch with a business partner in your area. They'll ask you where you're located, and we'll find the closest business partner to you, and then they can give you a call and give you some more detailed information. The other great resource is perhaps a place you've already visited, but of course the website, www.stagebusinessvision.com. Information on some of the add-on products that I mentioned, including the eBusiness Vision and Custom Pack, and then one more add-on called Multiple Currency Manager. So more information, you can read success stories and see some more detailed information on that, as well as the products in general. Be sure to visit the website. You can also view third-party add-on products, great resource. Might have some industry-specific solutions in a niche industry. All right, so those are two places that you can go to get some more information. And hopefully that gives you a good overview of the Stage Business Vision System. Thank you very much for joining us today. Hope you have a good day.